Welcome to the Recruitment Mentors Podcast. My name is Hishem Azzouz, and today we've got a different and exciting episode. I'm joined by one of Vincere's very own. I'm joined by Ginny, who's going to introduce herself in a second. But for those of you that listen to this podcast, you would have obviously heard about Vincere, and a number of times I would have told you about some of the great career opportunities at the business, the growth journey they're going on. So we thought it'd be a good idea to jump on with some of the people at the business to record a short episode to find out how these people went from working in the recruitment industry to then working for a tech provider to the recruitment industry, and just talk a bit about that journey, what they've learned, what they found difficult, what's sort of maybe been unexpected about it. But I'm really excited to be joined by Ginny today. So before, Ginny, I'm going to ask you all these different questions. If you could introduce yourself for those that may not know who you are, and then we'll get into it.
Sure. Hi, everyone. Yep. So I'm Ginny. I have been at Vincere for a couple of years now, about two and a half years. And before that, I worked in recruitment up in Manchester for about 2 years as well. So I joined Vincere back in May 2019. It's been quite a journey. Yeah, excited to kind of dive in and tell you all about it.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it. So let's just start then. I always like to start here with people because there's always normally a story. But how... Like, from what I can see online, did you do a bit of traveling, or like you were in different places, and like how did you end up in recruitment?
Yeah, I did do a fair bit of traveling. I did, a good stint of kind of running off around the world, having a lovely time, Asia, Australia, all sorts of great things. And then it was kind of time to come back to reality with a bit of a bump. Moved up to Manchester. There was no real reasoning behind it being Manchester. I actually looked on a map, shut my eyes, and kind of went that, and just pointed at the map, and it landed on Manchester. So that was it. Got on a train, and I think a lot of people, I hear a lot of people say that they kind of don't mean to go into recruitment. Sure. I was the opposite. I actually actively sought it out. Okay. The reason being was I wanted to have opportunities to get back out to Asia. And I thought, okay, well, what can I do that's global? What can I do that I can really get my teeth into in the UK, but will eventually perhaps take me abroad? And that kind of got me to recruitment. So I took my first job up in Manchester in 2017 for kind of a big national recruiter. And that was where it all started, really.
But it looks like you managed to achieve that goal only until you joined Vincere.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. I managed a couple of years in the UK and then ended up back out in Asia, and I've kind of been back and forth, but it's all good fun.
Yeah, for sure. So tell us a bit about that. Like, interested to talk a bit about. Well, let's go into it. Like, and then obviously the question really is like, okay, so that's where you started, wanting to be in an environment which could potentially take you internationally. Recruitment can absolutely do that. I think that's one of the great things that the recruitment industry can do. So how did you then end up working for Vincere then? And then we can go into you going over to Singapore.
Yeah, so it was kind of by accident, really. I was done with Manchester. I wanted to be back over in Asia, so I started looking at recruitment jobs over in Bangkok, in Singapore, in Hong Kong, and was taking myself off on holiday over there to do some interviews. But at the time, I was actually working for a company who's actually now one of our clients up in Manchester, and they said, oh, our software company, they're actually based over in Saigon. How would you feel about Saigon? Would you consider a move out of recruitment? And they put me forward for an interview at Vincere. So I wasn't really looking for it. I was going over to stay in recruitment, and then this opportunity just kind of got put in front of me. I went for an interview, met kind of Eloise and everyone, and the rest is kind of history. It was then kind of a clear choice of, this is the right move, having met the team there.
Awesome. And then, so you started in Saigon, which is their headquarters, right?
Yeah, so I started out in the Saigon office. I was there for my first year at Vincere. Yeah, kind of a lot of people there. A lot of different teams are based in that office. It's a great place to start because you can see everything through from development right through from, the product being designed.
Yeah.
There's sales guys there, CS guys there. There's a bit of everything. So it's a really cool office to just absorb everything. Plus, you're out in Vietnam, so
Yeah.
you've got, all of those perks as well. You've got year-round sunshine and all of that fun stuff as well. And great to kind of still keep that bit of me that wanted to be having that element of traveling, an element of not just being, here still in Manchester.
Sure,
So
sure.
it was good. Yeah.
What's talk to me about, like, what's been the draw? Like, why do you have such a gravity pull towards being abroad out of interest? Just curious.
I think traveling out there for a couple of years beforehand, I wasn't quite ready to say goodbye to that life of going off and doing all of that traveling.
Yeah.
But equally, I wanted the career. So I was kind of torn. And then, now I can't believe my luck that I managed to kind of get both from it, where I was
Yeah.
able to work in different offices globally for a company that's, got the ability to let you to do that while still really finding my feet in my career. So to be able to have both of those was great. Because, I wasn't quite ready to say goodbye to that kind of slightly wild lifestyle of living somewhere a bit different.
Sure. And then tell me about, I know obviously it's crazy times at the moment, but like, as I mentioned, obviously Vincere's headquarters is there, or a big part of their team is like, what is that actually like working in that culture, in that environment out of interest? Like, what's it actually like living and working there?
It's really interesting. It's different, obviously, but there are so many different nationalities and backgrounds that work at Vincere in all of the offices, but especially so in the Vietnam office. There's just people from worldwide who are there, so it's really, really interesting. And there's people from all sorts of different backgrounds, a lot of ex-recruiters, but also people bringing experience from other backgrounds as well. And it just keeps it really interesting. And there's always kind of different stories and different perspectives on things.
Yeah, I love that. So talk to us a bit about, because it is quite a popular move in terms of sort of being a recruitment professional and then sort of considering your options and actually going down the route of staying in the industry, but then working with companies that sell to the recruitment industry is just quite a sort of popular transition. So I think obviously a lot of people, and I'm sure you obviously were having some of these thoughts, like, how is that going to actually work? Like, do the skills I have currently, are they transferable? Like, talk to us a bit about, from what I can see, it looks like you went into customer success and then you've sort of progressed into a different role. But like, what was the sort of process, or how was you feeling about taking that transition out of interest? Like, share with us some of the positives, maybe some of the challenges around that.
Sure. So it's definitely a challenge. So whilst having the recruitment experience definitely helps, and there are a lot of transferable skills, which I'll talk about in a sec, but it does come with its challenges as well. But that's exciting, right? Whilst it's still kind of linked to the industry, it is still, moving from recruitment into rec tech. But that means that it's really exciting and you can bring those skills over. So things like, obviously, when you're in recruitment and you're dealing with hiring managers all day long, you're speaking to business owners, none of that's really changing. I'm still speaking every day to business owners. You're still kind of making use of those account management skills. So like you said, I went into the customer success team, so very much focused on consultatively helping our clients. And that's what recruiters are doing as well, right? They're just helping their clients find candidates. And the flip side here is we're still helping our clients. It's just that the recruiters are now our clients. So we're still kind of bringing, kind of using those same skills. And it's just really, really consultative and just helping them get the most out of Vincere. But it's definitely taught me not to be, I suppose, scared of that industry switch, because there are so many links to it. And it can be a bit nerve-wracking, and you're moving to a new, potentially a new country, a new continent. But But there are still so many elements of it which it's really helped me having that recruitment experience, really.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just a really exciting new challenge, really.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I guess what's maybe surprised you then so far? And I'm sure you felt positive about making the move and things like that, but maybe some of the skills or experiences that you've had that you've been surprised that you've had or you didn't expect to have. Talk to us a bit about that.
Yeah, I suppose just how many transferable skills I've been able to bring over. So I was kind of anxious of it being this massive change. I've never worked in tech before. I wouldn't class myself as a terribly techie person. I never have done. So I was a bit kind of anxious of that and wary of that. But actually being able to bring that knowledge of, okay, I've sat in the recruiter shoes, I've done it. I used Vincere as a customer, right? So I've literally been sat in their shoes, being shown this new product. So being able to bring that, it's kind of surprised me how bigger impact that has had and how much that has really helped me.
What are recruiters like as customers? I mean, this is my world as well. I know they can definitely be hit and miss. That's for sure. What's been your experience?
It's interesting. Let's just say no 2 days the same, no two clients are the same. It's very much, it's a fast-paced industry, right? Everyone who's going to be listening to this knows that recruitment is so fast-paced. They've got clients who want something now, therefore from us they need stuff now. They want to know kind of how it works, the best way to use it. So it's fast-paced. Dealing with recruiters, it's always going to be interesting. But again, it's that thing of I've been there, I've done it. I can see things from their point of view, which again I think really, really helps. I've been sat in their shoes and I can help them. This is how we can make Vincere work for you. This is how this can help you get the most out of your business.
Okay. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, some good days and bad days maybe with recruiters being customers, but overall good. As you said, I think it is like, it just goes such a long way. I felt like when people know that you've been in their shoes or like you really understand their challenges or how the sort of problems that they have and the solutions that they want. So, okay, talk to me a bit about like obviously your journey from the start. Like, what's been your perspective of like being part of the Vincere team, and in the last 2 years seeing the sort of journey or being part of the journey it's been on? Like, from your point of views, what have you been, I guess, most surprised about in terms of like Vincere as a business? And because it seems like they're just really on this great trajectory of like just positive growth and have some great customers, have loads of people saying great things about them, constantly innovating. I think they've got obviously this amazing opportunity that they have a huge amount of their team in obviously Vietnam, and like, so I don't know, like what's been your perspective of like Vincere, the Vincere journey so far since you've been part of it?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of hit the nail on the head there by saying that they're always innovating. That is a huge part of it. The product is always developing, it's always changing, and that's really exciting. And it means that we can always kind of bring things out for our customers, and what they want and what they need. But kind of being on the inside and seeing it grow over the last kind of 2.5 years, the growth has just been phenomenal. I mean, the kind of change internally from being a relatively small team, just kind of managing APAC from a customer success perspective, and now kind of watching, the London team grow so drastically, the Saigon team, the Sydney team, every team is growing so rapidly, and people just have to be so agile. We have to be on a daily basis just really flexible and willing to change kind of the way that we're working, the way that we look at things. But it's really exciting, and you can really feel it internally, this kind of growth that we're all going through. You can just kind of feel it in the air, like everyone is excited about what's coming. And just looking at the growth over the last year and the last 2 years since I've been here, it's just huge. Yeah. And it's just a really exciting atmosphere and just a really exciting time for the company. Yeah.
And obviously that obviously presents its opportunities internally, right? So it's obviously started in customer success. So then you move back to London, it looks like.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. So I was in customer success over in Saigon. So I was kind of heading up the APAC region there, looking after our customers based in Asia.
Mm.
And then after a year based there, moved back to London. There's just the timing was right, really. So I moved back over to London and was doing the same role for our UK and EMEA customers.
Mm.
And then about 2 months ago, moved into my current role, which is head of implementations, which is much more focused on kind of rather than existing customers and sort of the looking after of them, it's customers who are freshly on board,
Right.
they aren't live yet, and it's kind of looking after them through that period.
It can be quite painful,
So
can't it? That period.
yeah, I mean,
It's quite
it's
difficult.
never the most. First of all, it's not the most exciting bit because they just want to be live, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's kind of it's this bit that has to be done. They're bringing over the data, but it's such a key stage,
Yeah.
making sure that all of their data is coming over from their old site and so on. So it's a really important kind of period, and just being able to project manage that bit of time and make sure that they're happy and make sure everything's running smoothly. It's a really kind of exciting role to be in. So yeah, kind of move through those three different roles. And again, it just ties in with what I was saying about the rapid growth, but also how agile everything is here. Like things are always moving and we are adapting internally to be able to, kind of satisfy what our customers need because of that fast growth.
Sure. And then just because I think customer success can be like a really great transition for recruiters that do want to get into tech because of the transferable skills. So talk to if you don't mind, you did a really good job there of talking about what being head of implementation means or what you're in charge of. Like what did a typical day look like as a customer success manager out of interest?
Sure. So CS, yeah, like you said, it is a great role to come over from recruitment because that's where I would say a lot of the similarities lie. Because you are talking to those key decision makers every day, or sorry, those key kind of managers, I should say.
Yeah.
You're speaking to them about how they can best kind of get what they need out of Vincere. What's right for one customer isn't necessarily going to be right for another, so it's very consultative. And ultimately, those are all skills which you're using as a recruiter on a day-to-day basis, right? You're always consulting with your hiring managers about your candidates. So there's a lot of transferable skills that can come over, but day to day, you're talking to those key kind of directors and managers, you're training end users on how to actually use the product. You're dealing with kind of ad hoc things that come up. So whether it's kind of things on people's accounts, whether it's something to do with more like a contract side of things. There's all sorts of things that could come up, but it's very much a role for people who are wanting to still have that consultative approach with people and be able to ultimately just help them get what they need out of the system. That's kind of what the CS team is all about. We want to enable our customers to be able to achieve what they need to achieve.
Yeah, absolutely. So why didn't you tell us, like, so from your experience then, like, what would your advice or thoughts be for anyone that was like potentially open to a move into the tech industry? And as we've just discussed, like that recruitment experience can be really valuable to transfer into working in rec tech. So like what advice or what thoughts would you give to anyone that is considering making that transition or move into rec tech?
Yeah, I'd say be hungry for it. The opportunities are huge. I mean, look, I came into a CS position, and now I'm in a kind of like a different team. There are opportunities internally. There's so many different parts to it, whether it's CS, whether it's sales, whether it's on the product side, development. There are so many different avenues that you can take internally. So if you're hungry for progression and you're hungry to make a difference and have a voice in a company, it's a great industry in general to be in, but specifically at Vincere, you can really make an impact, and that's really exciting. That's kind of one of the biggest things that I've enjoyed over the last couple of years, is being able to bring what I've learned in the past and be able to actually have a voice with that and make an impact and make changes.
Yeah, you can't be feeling recognized or like having ideas and then seeing them actually happen in the business that you work for. So,
yeah, absolutely, and it's exciting.
So as we finish this up then, so, like I know you're just mentioning it there, but what's on what's on the horizon for Vincere then? Why is it an exciting time? Have you got any, I don't know, maybe secrets that you can tell us, or maybe not tell us that much about?
I don't know.
What's around the corner? Like what's up and coming?
I might have to kill you if I told you that. Yeah, no. No, there is, we're not out of this growth period. We're very much still on the way up. I mean, specifically, we're looking for people globally at the moment. So we've got a role over in the US that we're looking for. Anyone who's wanting to be based out of Atlanta. So that's very exciting. Kind of growing a team there. We're also looking for people all the time in London, Saigon, Sydney, Ibiza. So there's always stuff going on. And yeah, it's definitely not over. We definitely haven't peaked yet. There's still a long way to go. And we're always just excited to hear from people who want to be a part of that and they want to kind of come on that journey. And like I said, if you're hungry for it and you are kind of willing to get stuck in and want to get your hands dirty and want to progress, it's a great place to be.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've been to your offices in Liverpool Street. It's a great location. And I feel like one of the really cool things as well about working in rec tech is like, obviously one of the things that you might feel like you'd miss in recruitment is that, like, the people element. And I know some people have had some terrible experience in terms of like the people they've worked with or the cultures they've been part with. But a lot of the time, most recruiters would go, you know what, I absolutely loved that sort of office environment. I loved the sort of socials we had. And I think that's one of the things that you can definitely get. Like when I walked into your office, it's just like, you've also got that unique feeling of like, it's obviously it's not a recruitment company, but you've got that sort of culture feel and vibe that you'd expect in a recruitment business, which is a big part of what we all enjoy about it. So
yeah, absolutely. It's not like a big corporate machine. It's very much, it's a nice place to be. Like I said, they're lovely offices, but also everyone here is just decent. Everyone's just decent people. So it's really like it's a nice place to come into every day. And like you said, nice offices and everything kind of obviously helps with that.
Absolutely. Well, look, Ginny, thank you so much for coming on.
You're welcome.
Excited to see obviously where you are in another 2 years. Vincere, where Vincere is another 2 years. So as Ginny mentioned, really exciting time at Vincere. So if you wanted any further questions, I know Ginny would be more than happy to connect with you on LinkedIn. But at the same time, in the show notes of this episode, you'll be able to check out what Vincere have going on at the moment. So make sure you do that. But Ginny, thanks for coming on the pod.
No, thank you. Thank you for having me.